We're going to replace our driver's side outside tie rod end, located right behind your back wheel on the back side of the knuckle. Using our 19mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove our lug nuts. With the lug nuts removed, go ahead and remove your wheel, set it aside. We're going to use our 19mm wrench, and the first thing we want to do is loosen up this jam nut. Now, if yours is rusted, you might want to use some rust penetrant on this here. It might require a little bit of heat. We're able to break ours free here, so we're just going to spin that in a few threads. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect our outer tie rod end here. There's a cotter pin locking the nut in place. So we're going to use a pair of our pliers here, or cutters. Basically want to get both sides of the cotter pin tabs down. With both of those tabs bent down, you can grab your cutters and basically pinch and pull, working the cotter pin out. Using our 17mm socket, let's go ahead and loosen and remove this nut. At this point here, because we're going to be replacing this, you can simply use your hammer, go ahead and tap this thing out. If it doesn't come out that easy, you can go ahead and strike the knuckle itself and it should pop this out. Now I went ahead and grabbed a crayon. What I'm going to do is we're going to count the amount of revolutions it takes for us to unthread this from our inner tie rod. Once we get that count and this comes off, we're going to go ahead and write that number down. It's about 10 turns. So I'm going to write that 10 right on that lower control arm. I'll go ahead and spin this nut off. Now we did use a little bit of heat to take ours off here to get that to break free, so I'm using a good heavy glove here so I don't burn myself. Go ahead and remove that jam nut and we'll set that aside. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize compound on these threads here. I'm going to go ahead and get our jam nut started. Now we counted 10 turns. We're removing the tie rod. Let's go ahead and count 10 installing it. There's 10 turns. Let's go ahead and spin our jam nut down. At this point here, we can go ahead and install our tie rod into our knuckle. I'm going to go ahead and install our nut. You want to pay attention to the orientation of the hole going through our ball joint, because that's where we're going to have to put our cotter pin in. Going to install the nut, and we'll snug that down. Now we're going to torque this down to 36 foot-pounds. Making sure that the cotter pin hole lines up with the notch in the castle nut. If it has overlapped it, you want to go ahead and tighten down this nut to the next open notch in your castle nut, and then install your cotter pin. Use your pliers, bend this over, cut off excess. Want to go ahead and tighten down our jam nut to 55 foot-pounds if you have the ability to do so. Once you have everything torqued down, I'm just going to grab a pair of pliers here. I'm going to adjust this just so that our tie rod is nice and level. Once we have our tie rod end leveled, you now want to go ahead and bring your vehicle down and get a wheel alignment performed. That way there you prevent any premature wear on any other parts and or your tires. Go ahead and install your wheel. Let's get our lug nuts all started here. Once we get all of our lug nuts started, we're going to go ahead and snug them down. Let's get and torque down our wheels to 76 foot-pounds.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.